Hi, everyone. I am David, he, him pronouns, and this is session 3 of Hearts of Wulin, Odyssey of Jade and Stars. This is a quarterly of Hearts of Wulin being played on the Gauntlet. If you want to check out the Gauntlet and its calendar of all kinds of indie role-playing games and get in on games like this, gauntlet-rpg.com is the URL as of this recording. Let's go ahead and get started, folks, with a quick round of character introductions. I'm going to go in character keeper order, starting with Stephen.
Hey there, I am Steven, he, him. And did you say character introductions or just...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, character, player. I mean, relevant information.
Okay.
You know that you might like to share. It's all
Oh
good.
yeah, I didn't know if we were introducing just ourselves for the moment. But yeah, I'm Steven, he, him. Been here in the Gauntlet for going on 3 years now, I think. I am playing Nameless Blade, she, her, swordswoman, doomed but not cursed, to clarify, because I mean, this is the sort of world where we need to make that distinction. And recently poisoned, need to settle a life debt, need to go talk with my master about how to extra murder this one lady that poisoned me. We'll see about that. And oh yeah, I need to bring back that decapitated head I still have.
Chekhov's decapitated head. Okay. Greg, I think you're next.
Hi, my name is Greg, pronouns he, him, and I'm playing Dongshan, who is the right lieutenant of Blackwood Palace, a sect that specializes in healing, especially of poisons, and in arrays and formations. So like to make lots of magical traps and such. And I have just about to attempt to save Nameless Blade from her recent poisoning, and perhaps extract a favor from her now that my master has commanded me to keep her and Cloud Crow apart, because Cloud Crow is far more important. We can't have Nameless Blade messing around. So.
Alrighty, and I think Jose, you are next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jose, and my pronouns are he and him, and I'm playing Zhou Jiang. He is I'm playing the outsider cursed playbook, which means there's some kind of strange curse we haven't figured out exactly the nature of it, and neither as Zhou Jiang, he's trying to figure out why strange supernatural occurrences happen around him very often, and he seems to be kind of a magnet for supernatural entities. He is part of the Waxing Crescent faction, which is actually an escort service. And on the surface, it's an escort service. It also has some spying, secret spying missions as well, taking advantage of the placement of all these escorts among influential people. Should I talk about the new move, or just wait to let it come up and play?
You might as well let us all know that you took a move in between sessions. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a new move, and it'll need to come up and play, but I took it from the Unorthodox playbook, and it's called Shadow Boxing, and I'll just read it. A secret order or group aids you. You may not be aware of their assistance, which I'm pretty sure Jiang isn't, but once per session you can flash back on some preparation, interference, or negotiating they did on your behalf, and then there's a role involved. So yeah, I'm just pulling on the theme of everyone has an opinion about Jiang's business, and so now there's more people that have an opinion about Jiang's business. So I'm rolling with the punch. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And last but not least, Max.
So my name is Max. I am playing Cloud Crow, and Cloud Crow uses they, them pronouns, as do I. And Cloud Crow is a student of the Heaven and Earth Temple, and Cloud Crow plays the flute, which is an instrument of calling up the dead and protection of the living, and also of warding off spirits or making them do Cloud Crow's will. Cloud Crow is pining for Blade, for Nameless Blade, with whom they have a past life connection. And Cloud Crow's teacher is Elder Woodheart. Elder Woodheart has asked me to kill Jiang's secret demon fox demon lover, and also to do something bad to Jiang's family. However, I like Jiang and don't want to do those things. So I'm having some ethical dilemmas. I'm also having some ethical dilemmas or some sort of internal spiritual dilemmas because of my pining for Nameless Blade and my lack of interest in my current lover, who is Nameless Blade's ex-lover in the past life. I killed them both in a past life. My master, Elder Woodheart, recently asked me about this situation and I lied. And I'm in a lot of inner turmoil about having just lied to my teacher. And so I'm currently walking back with him to the temple for his protection after some magic that we did. And he is carrying this urn with horrible poisons in it. And I'm planning to spend a little bit of time at the temple trying to get right with myself in some way and with my master. So
Brilliant. All right, folks. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And I think we're going to get started with an in media res flashback to the scene between Dongshan and Nameless Blade down at the riverside shortly after Nameless Blade was poisoned in a most dishonorable fashion by the mysterious Violet Widow. I remember Dongshan, you chased after Nameless Blade after she crashed into the water. You have plucked her body from the river, and I think that we might just open up before your master Mao Renqing arrives. And this is an opportunity to perhaps use one of your moves to hopefully address the matter of poison that Nameless Blade has run up against. And I'll kind of kick it over to you at this point, if you would like to go ahead and give that move a shot, or if there's anything else you would like to do instead.
Nope, that sounds like a good space to start. So yes, having sealed Nameless Blade's acupoints to retard the spread of the poison, then we do the whole thing where we will sit behind her and project chi into her to hopefully move the poison out of her body.
And I believe the name of your move is 5 Deadly Venoms, which just gives you a +1 forward to overcome in order to treat someone who has been poisoned.
Okay. What am I going to roll with? I feel like it's a particularly virulent poison, so using metal to try and counter this strange poison that I've never encountered before. Seven. Oh, actually, that should be an 8 with the extra +1 from.
Sure. Would you like to keep that at an 8?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, we have a mixed success, meaning there is a complication. So you either can get a hard choice or a worse outcome. And I think that what we're going to do here is you can successfully kind of do, like you said, sort of the key modifications in order to unlock the various points that have been blocked by the poison. And in so doing, we can clear that metal condition that Nameless Blade has. It's going to take a toll on her body, however. So if you choose to go through with this, we will clear metal, but we are going to have to mark that second wounded box for Nameless Blade.
Sure. I think getting the poison out is the most important thing. So go ahead and do it.
All right. So Nameless Blade, if you would describe what it's like as you regain consciousness, what do you do and how do you feel? Walk us through it.
Man, I think that let's see, I'm always sick and wounded, so it's like actually serious. I think that like we see Blade and like as she pulls herself out of from the under the poison, we see that like blood has just like trickled, like poured out of her like eyes and mouth, and it's just forming like those trails down her cheeks and her mouth. And she kind of hacks and coughs and then like pulls herself. Does she still have her sword on her? Like that has Dongshan left her sword on her? I think that she like props herself up with like the sword hilt. Am I alone when I wake up, or is Dongshan here? Is that?
Yeah, I would be right next to you.
I see this one is still within this cycle.
It was a close thing. Barely force it out, and it seems to have taken much of your energy with it.
And I kind of like, yeah, I say, well, it is good that you were present then. And I kind of stand and like wince because I'm in a lot of pain, but I don't make any gesture to actually get your help, Dongshan. I say, well, I shall have to report this, whatever this woman is, to the monks. I thank you for your help, Dongshan.
Yes, whatever she is quite dangerous. Will you be all right?
I will be fine. I should worry more about what your wife and brother-in-law have dragged you into than about myself.
Yes. Evil Mo Feng involved himself with someone far more dangerous than he knows, I'm sure. As always, inviting trouble in.
Well,
but
oh no, go ahead.
But you take care. I hope I will see you soon.
Yes, if there's any
healthy and well.
it does occur, Dongshan, you do have that move you took, which allows you to maybe clear some of your own elements if you clear someone else's wounded box. And Nameless Blade does look pretty roughed up, but maybe that's not on the table right now.
Doesn't seem to be. So,
I mean, Nameless Blade is not going to ask for support, but if that is something Dongshan wants to give, like Steven fictionally can help arrange that.
I think maybe as you turn to walk away, I see you slip a bit and catch yourself and say, wait, before you go, take these. It's my sect's pills of 9 flowers dew. That should help keep you, regenerate your energy so that I won't worry about you on the journey back.
I kind of look down, and it's like I'm just not used to people giving me things. I like. Is there? Thank you. What do you wish in return, Dongshan?
I ask for nothing in return. My sect my sect is happy to heal those who are wounded, especially when you were fighting such a dangerous and obviously demonic opponent. We all support each other, so please take it.
I smile a bit. And I can't quite ascertain whether you're a fool or a liar, Dongshan, but thank you. If you have need of me again, I will remember that I owe you. And is this you making the comfort and support here?
Yes.
Cool. Go ahead and roll with that if you want.
I feel like wood kind of feels right thematically. Oof.
Oh boy.
5.
Are you going to keep the miss?
Let me see what happens on a miss.
It doesn't
I think
say
it's
that
just the
anything
same.
specifically
Just
happens.
nothing.
No, well, I mean, it's just like it's a GM move as always.
Right.
I mean, I'll spend my bond because I do want to get rid of this wounded box. So that'll take you up to a 6 if you want to spend your. I think you have 1 on me.
Sure.
Or no, you can spend any of them technically. It's just the 1 on me would make most sense.
Right. Certainly does. I will take that down.
Yeah, and I will remove my wounded.
All right. So by clearing a marked element, that's going to take off one of your wounded. Dongshan, your State of Divinity move triggers, and you may clear an element either on yourself or another, and you've got water taken care of by the looks of it. right. Shall we close the scene there?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Cloud Crow, is there a scene you would like to call with an NPC? Or is there another thing you'd like to do? Or would you prefer that I hard frame something in?
Well, I'm hoping to have some interaction with my master about my inner turmoil and request for teaching support.
The trek back to the Heaven and Earth Temple might be a fine enough time to speak with him, as long as you've got some kind of alone time in the woods with the two of you.
Mhm.
So I think you're walking kind of off the trail. You know, this is a shortcut that he knows well. And you are sort of climbing these small rocky cliffs, although really it's more like you're just kind of leaping over them. I think this is one of those wuxia moments where terrain really just does not factor into your movements. But how do you bring this up to Elder Woodhard? He seems to be deep in thought, having reviewed the contents of the bronze vessel that you so skillfully pinched from Mo Feng earlier.
Master, may I speak frankly?
Honesty is encouraged. What is it?
I am troubled. I need to tell you that I wasn't completely truthful with you earlier. Shit, what's my girlfriend's name?
Sister Serpent?
Thank you. Oh, my affection for Sister Serpent has waned, and I find myself unable to forget Nameless Blade. And I fear that I'm distracted. And I am seeking your wisdom.
I think he stops. You know, you're not even walking anymore. I think that brings him to a halt. And I think he turns to you and with an expression of knowing kindness, but also no shortage of concern, kind of places a hand upon your shoulder and tells you, Cloud Crow, Nameless Blade. Why, you are a gifted student who knows much of Nameless Blade's history and of your past lives. Nameless Blade drew the blood of Buddha. You can have no affection for them.
Master, I fear it is beyond my control. That reason will not help me now.
He thinks for a moment. You need something to take your mind off of this woman. It occurs to me that you did not strike Zhou Jiang whenever he protected Mo Feng. Is that right?
That is correct, Master.
It is understandable that you did not, but it is also your mission to do away with those with whom Zhou Jiang has formed ties, starting first and foremost with Song Tian. You recall this?
Yes, Master.
Then we will kill two birds with one stone. He glances up at the crows surrounding you and seems to briefly regret the idiom. Stay far from Nameless Blade, and instead put that fervor into the defeat, or at least banishment, of Song Tian. And the second bird, I will see to it that Sister Serpent assists you. The two of you would do well to spend more time together.
Thank you, Master.
Of course. And he smiles like he just did something really skillful. Like, yeah, he's proud of himself. And then, again, like deer through the forest, the two of you take off at a blurring speed. Is there anything that you would like to do before we switch over to Zhou Jiang?
I think I just need some time to think now, so no.
Sure. Jiang, would you like to call a scene with an NPC or anything else? I can always hard frame a scene for you too.
Well, I have a question. The overall kind of set of scenes, scenario at the Ghost Festival, are we bringing that to a close, or will there be
I think we'll wrap things up at the Ghost Festival here,
Okay.
Unless there is something you want to go back and do there. I'm thinking at this point, this is kind of where we enter kind of an interlude. You know, we had the opening scene at the Ghost Festival, and now I think we have a bit of downtime where time can pass. It could be days, weeks, perhaps, but I'm willing to give people some free time to kick around and sort of pursue their own goals before we bring everyone back together.
Okay, that helps.
And pretty much all the main characters have left the Ghost Festival at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, then I think maybe what I'd like to do is a new technique move, or so a montage around that. I want to give. I've never done that, so I give that a shot. Based on the duel with Violet Widow.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's what I will say about that.
Okay.
You do need to gain scale on Violet Widow in order to defeat them. However, they do have some sort of supernatural quality to them. So simply gaining scale will not be enough to permanently destroy them. It may allow you to defeat them in battle, but it will not allow you to permanently destroy them. In order to do that, you would need to figure out what the bane of
I mean,
Violet
I'm actually
Widow
going to
is.
be specifically looking that up myself. So if you want to do your thing still.
Yeah,
You were
you'll need to have both in play at some point.
You were going to be looking for a bane, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe I will do the new technique, because scale will have to be part of the equation as well, right? If we do hope to defeat her at some point. And that was Jiang's motivation for asking for the duel. So I think, let me see. So Jiang, in analyzing and reflecting upon the duel with the Violet Widow, realized that part of why he could never lay a hand on her is that he could never get in within her defensive sphere. There was something about the way her art worked that she just kept rebuffing him. And so he has been reflecting upon that since the duel. And he remembers that he heard about a cultivator who had developed a technique called the silver tether, which is basically a way of tying two combatants together with a magical cord that the user can, tighten or loosen and it can't be cut, and it allows them to kind of reel in closer and closer to the other combatant without them being able to escape. And so part of the technique that I would imagine him in the montage learning from this user is how to cast the I guess a spell, is that what you would call it? But also, once you're tethered, how to not let yourself get out of control once tethered to another opponent. Oh, and I have a little GIF that I can show it about what it looks like. There it is, from the good old Untamed. So I hope that works. I don't know if the GIF works. And so, yeah, so I imagine a montage.
I'm going to screen share the GIF for the video, so don't mind me.
Okay. There it is. So tying their hands together. So I can imagine a montage where he's learning to cast the spell, but also him falling on his ass many times when he's tied to his the mentor that he's working with. And also in the montage, you'd see an exchange of coin, because Jiang came out of the Ghost Festival pretty flush with coin. And so he's dropped some coin into the cultivator's hands in learning this technique. And in the end of the montage, you see him tied to this cultivator and being able to manage the tether between the two of them and pulling him in so far that he can get into his defensive sphere. And I guess there's a role that's involved with this move, right?
There is. That is the new technique move. It is on the other moves tab. And rather than rolling with an element, the special thing about this move is that you roll plus the number of times you have seen your foe's fighting form. So you've definitely seen it at least once.
Did I also see the conflict between Nameless Blade and her during the ambush?
I remember there was a fire.
There was a fire, and I don't know if I could see through that. Maybe I didn't, because I was having trouble imagining Jiang just walking off to do his duel with the Violet Widow after having seen his friend Nameless Blade be poisoned and tossed into the river. So maybe Jiang didn't actually see that. It was on the other side of the burning, and he was just concerned with protecting Mofang and the conflict with Cloud Crow. So maybe I didn't see that one. So I guess it's a +1 then.
Sure.
From the duel itself. All right. Where did I put this? Okay. Oops. That's not how you spell it. I need a couple of dice. I need a +1. Ooh, it's a 6.
You can spend a bond or tick that curse clock in order to bump that to a 7, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you can spend points here.
Yeah. I think John has realized over time that he is something about this whole curse thing has allowed him to like nudge fate at times in particular ways, and it's very dangerous, but I think he does it in this case. Maybe he was having difficulty actually picking up this technique, and he allowed himself to nudge fate in this way. So I'm going to say it ticks his clock for the curse, and that would bring me to a 7.
All right. And
Do
your
I tick
curse
the clock somewhere?
There's no place on the character keeper specifically.
I'll write something.
Just stick it in the notes section or wherever. But yes, your clock is at 1 out of 4, I believe, is where it caps out. Yeah.
Okay.
And that gets you to a 7, which means that you successfully gain scale against your foe, but there is a significant cost to learning the move. I think that the cost here is that it is effective, it works, you will very conceivably be able to bind
Mhm.
Violet Widow, but in so doing, you will be left vulnerable, either to a strike from Violet Widow or from an onlooker. So it works, but it basically opens you up to a free hit.
Okay. It's a dangerous maneuver.
It's very high risk, high reward. Yes.
Okay.
Any last things you would like to do before we kick things back to Nameless Blade?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. Nameless Blade. Is there a scene you'd like to call with an NPC? Something you'd like to do, or would you prefer to hard frame things?
I think I'm returning to the eternal to the 5-drop mountain abbey to meet with our 6th branch Chow here, our my master, to deliver this head and also to consult him about this I mean, maybe also roundaboutly ask about Zhang, like, oh, Zhang was there. See how he responds. But that's secondary. The main thing is I'm coming to deliver this head, report about this lady, see what knowledge I can get from him.
How do you envision Six Branch Chow behaves toward you? I mean, this is an ancient, bordering on immortal person, with the amount of obscene cultivation they've done. I wonder what they're like. Do you have a sense as to that?
Well, I think like I was saying, I was kind of wondering out loud that I do feel like branches here are almost like a literal like they're both like a rank, but they're also like a literal description of like the senior monks that that once your 6th branch like grows, you become like one of the senior monks of the temple. Like I imagine like he has this like he's almost a little bit ant-like, and he's like, I think like the mutation has like made him over time, like, again, this is just me leaning into From Software, like he is way larger than like a regular human should be. Because I'm just always imagining how you're always fighting these like human people in From Software, but they're always like 2 feet taller than you. And I think that like he is I think he is like gruff and maybe like the most affectionate of the monks, but that's not saying a lot. Like I think the monks are all fairly real politicky, but I think he is the one that shows the most affection for Nameless Blade.
Sure. So I think that maybe, I mean, if this is the mountain that you are coming to, might we say that this takes place in some cavern deep within?
Yeah.
So I'm envisioning sort of this open cavern where every footstep has this sort of echo to it. You hear this drip of water down from the cavernous ceiling, and I think after you navigate a labyrinth, which is surely booby trapped in almost every turn.
This is just a random thought, but is it like along the ceiling, just growing through the roots, are the ones who slumber, and they're just the monks who have become so much plant that they're no longer like that they're effectively like dead, but not really.
Right, but they've basically like fused into the
Yes.
walls, and you just have these sort of woody, vaguely humanoid, almost statues that are just kind of stuck into the walls,
Mhm.
watching, unbreathing, but still half alive.
Yeah.
That is disgusting. I love that. So, I think you get through to the end of this corridor, and in the center of the room, you find this almost like reflecting pool. And a single tiny shaft of light through some sort of hole in the ceiling that just barely kind of makes its way out to the exterior of the mountain, casts a single ray of light onto it. But what you really are drawn to are the kind of beady, sort of yellowish pinpoints of light that are Six Branch Chow's eyes as he lumbers and shifts out of the shadows, each footstep heavy and plodding, as this 8 or 9 foot tall tree man basically emerges half from the shadows, half from the literal wall. He has these limbs on his feet that are really kind of digitigrade, like his toes just kind of touch the floor, but the rest of his foot is lifted upward. It's really more like a dog's leg than a human's, the way the joints kind of line up. And this thing with this mossy lock of hair coming off of one end of his misshapen head sort of stumbles toward you, loping about, maybe one arm kind of bracing against the ground like a crutch. He looks like a shambling thing, but you know he is utterly deadly. Oh, it looks like we need to pause here
Yeah,
for
I'm
just
really
a second.
sorry. You were making that long speech. I didn't want to.
No
interrupt it.
problem, no problem.
Someone needs me for just 30 seconds.
No problem, no problem. Oh, Dongshan, you're next in line, so can I just get an idea of maybe what you're thinking of doing when we get to you?
Going back to Blackwood Palace to talk to my wife and maybe do some research on the Violet Widow.
Oh, fabulous. Very good. I already have lots of good ideas for that. Fantastic. Cloud Crow, you were going to be kind of next in line following. Is there anything that you will want to be taking care of that I can know about ahead of time?
Yeah, I'm going to work on finding out what I need to know about Songtian.
Sure. It occurs to me, maybe this might be as good a place as any to take our first break. Just because we're nearing the top of the hour anyway. So if people don't mind taking a break a bit earlier, let's take 10 here at the start. I'll stick it in the chat so Steven knows when he gets back, and we'll come back at 7 past. Okay, we are back, and we were just about to have an interaction between Nameless Blade and Six Branch Chow. So I think where we left off, this lumbering thing, 8 or 9 feet tall, mostly mossy plant thing, but still some semblance of humanity behind its bright glowing yellow eyes, kind of lumbers toward you. This thing is terribly deadly. How would you prefer to open the conversation?
I pull the cask strapped or to my back, strapped like on a strap off, and like throw it over to him and say, my hunt has been partially successful. I returned with a creature that was posing as a mortal upon the roadways to the festival, as you expected. There were such predators.
With a couple of kind of long, bony, pincher-like fingers, he will pluck open the cask and, grasping it by the hair, pull the head, thoroughly preserved in the salt that I think you had entombed it in, and examine it, making eye contact with the disembodied Feng jaw hanging agape. He delicately places it back atop the bed of salt and tells you, a fine specimen, Nameless Blade. This thing you have so effectively dispatched survives on the devouring of ghosts. This is how it sustains its unlife. Its head
And
may
yet,
be useful to
when
you.
I encountered it, it seemed to be hunting mortal flesh.
It has a sinister streak about it. It survives on ghosts, yet has a taste from humans as well. As it is, the head may be of use to you. You'd best keep it with you if you should ever run into another spirit.
Very well. And I take it up and sling it back over. I come because I bring word, though, that there is something much more strange that I was unable to dispatch upon my journey outward. It was in the company of a certain the brother-in-law and I just need to remind myself of everyone's names. Zhou Jiang. And I mean, partly I want to see if this will like, because I feel like I'm actually going to make another move here where I'm like, how much does he know? But like, it was not even the blooded blade was able to dispatch it. It wore the body of a woman, but she wielded the blood of demons as a poison.
And what move were you thinking of making here?
I was looking for, I was trying to uncover a bane. When you seek out a bane by study, practice, or consultation roll, like I was trying to ask if like he had encountered such a creature before and how one might dispatch it.
Sure. Let me scroll here and just review a couple of moves quickly. Let's see here. Yeah, I think Uncover Bane is sensible here. The thing I like about it is it gives the enemy in question a chance to claim victims, depending on how you roll. So, I think Uncover Bane might be good here, and you are triggering it. You are seeking out a Bane by, in this case, consultation.
Yeah.
So I think that plays. What would you like to roll with?
I think I am using water here. Let's see. Let me bring up our roll. I have it right here. I just haven't opened it. Okay. And that is +1. And that's a 9.
You can kick that right up to a 10 if you'd like.
Well, let me see what the 9 is. Sure, I think I'm gonna. I'll kick that up. Let me see here. What bonds do I still have here on hand? See, I have one on. Yeah, I think that I'm invoking Jiang here, and I'm gonna probably be bringing it up on a little bit. But I think I'm invoking Jiang here, so I'll spend that bond as I draw on that connection to sort of push forward this research. So on a 10+, I discover a bane, and it doesn't claim another victim in the meantime, but I choose one. I mean, let's go with we're all cursed and doomed here. Let's go with it is forbidden.
Okay. So let's see. I think this still fits I think this will still fit forbidden. It's kind of maybe an interesting take on forbidden, but it's definitely not something that anyone can just do or obtain. It's less than orthodox. I think that what happens is we see this conversation between the two of you kind of play out, and you describe how Violet Widow fights. You describe the way that you were able to run the blooded blade directly through her torso, and yet almost nothing happened. And he will say, almost like stopping you halfway through, it's like he's seen this so many times before, he tells you, this is someone who has a close connection with death. Someone who themselves, by all accounts, should be dead and yet is tied to the mortal realm and is unable to transport themselves onward to the underworld. Almost as if a ghost made flesh. And I think as he says this, he poetically reaches up and plucks a flower growing off of the wall and holds it up to the beam of light that streams down to the reflecting pool. And you get this close-up shot as the flower instantly rots in his hand and the petals just delicately fall into the water. He looks to you and says, while she can be defeated in battle, the only way to permanently destroy such a thing and ensure its transmission into the next realm is to eliminate its ties to the mortal realm. In such a case, and this is where he gets very serious and narrows his glowing eyes and leans forward, he says, it is almost universally a family member that ties them to this world. And he leans back and lets you kind of take all that in.
I see. And it's at this point, and I think that like, and what of this? Well, I have had some encounters with him in the past, and it is always under unusual circumstances. What of this Zhang? Does he have some connection to all this? Is there something unusual about him? Is he a creature of some sort? And I'm straight up like, I know that he is not a creature, but I am just trying to like, hey, so I kind of think that you cursed him, but I can't just ask that. So I'm kind of roundaboutly seeing if you reveal anything when I specifically drop him by name here.
I wonder, are you trying to maybe use the study move here?
Yes, that was specifically what I was bringing up, that I think I'm going to trigger another move related to Zhang just after this.
Let's go ahead and roll study and see how this goes.
Yeah, let's see. I think I'm actually using metal here. I think this is a 7.
Okay. I think that's gonna just stick. I don't know that there's a way to bump that to a 10 at this point.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I get the basic information, and I'll find out something that my master knows or relates to Zhang.
Yeah, the basic information is that he has a very explicit interest in Jiang. I mean, there's no mistaking it. He knows the name. He follows him closely, and that there is something very particular about Jiang that he has a personal interest in.
Oh man, and I don't think I asked this out loud, but I get one hold, and I'm gonna ask, Because I think I am like eyeing this and seeing his reaction. Did you curse Zhang? Or
Do
his
you-
family, at least.
I wonder, do you ask him that explicitly, or is this something that is
No, I'm not
inferred?
asking explicitly. I'm just like measuring, like, do I see some hint or something that reveals this to me?
Excellent. And I think that he will begin. Clearly, this person has a penchant for monologues, as is traditional
Mhm.
for Ent-like
Yeah.
people. They speak too much. But he goes upon probably another 3 or 4 minute tirade about Jiang and his family and his background and how well he knows him and blah, 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 blah. But as he does so, he tells you that he thinks Jiang is very interesting. He's such a fascinating specimen, one who we can watch to see how much one can tolerate supernatural intrusion into their soul.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to roll inner conflict now. Just move avalanche here.
Sure. You get to mark XP for that.
Yep. Let me go ahead. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll what is this? Caution, focus, presence, flexion, wisdom, flexibility. I don't think it's creativity, speed, or passion. I think it's maybe Earth. I think I'm feeling worried here. Yeah, and be caring about Zhang's well-being. Don't even need to change the name of this role. And that's a 5.
Again, I don't think there is a way to bump that up here.
Nope.
So you get to mark XP
I mean,
a second
technically, I
time.
can just spend all my bonds. I think I still have 2. Or do I only have 1?
I think
No, I
you
only have
just
1. Yeah, I only have
remaining.
1. Never mind.
So
yeah,
that's
how does
gonna
this
be a
become
miss.
worse?
Yeah. Oh dear. So
Oh man, everybody is gonna assassinate Zhang.
I kind of think that what we might do here is take that things get much worse thing, and we'll put a pin in it. I think we'll spend the hard move
That's fair.
at a later time here. But it becomes very apparent to you that Jiang is a target. He's a mark of Six Branch Chow, and by extension, the entirety of your sect. The Eternal Monks of Five Drop Mountain collectively have some interest in him. And you're not sure that you are altogether meant to know that, but it is apparent to you.
Oh man, you see, Zhang wished to be fuckable, but like not in this sense.
So let's close the scene there and kick things over to Dongshan. Is there an NPC scene you'd like to call for?
Yes, a visit with my wife, Qing Shui.
Qing Shui, okay. And what is the nature of your, well, I mean, she's your wife, so I mean, you kind of see her a lot anyway, but is there anything in particular you're seeing her about?
Well, I think first thing that happens is I just walk in, greet her, we make some sort of loving small talk, and then she mentions that oh, by the way, someone delivered a package for you. I turn and there's a small box and a letter, and I open the letter to find that it's from Zhou Jiang, who has who informs me that he says, I collected this after my duel with the Violet Widow. That woman, or whatever she was, who was with Mo Feng. I hope this can help you figure out what sort of poison she's using, and open it up and find that there's a small bottle holding like a piece of grass with a drop of her blood clinging to it that has sort of shriveled the grass up, but there's some blood left in the bottom. So kind of undiluted poison from her. And I take that, set aside, and then turn to my wife and say, you know, this actually bears directly on something I wanted to speak to you about. Your brother Feng. He's been up to no good again lately, but this time I think he's in over his head. He to begin with, he received a package that contained some dark moon poison. I'm sure you know how dangerous that can be.
Now, do you know that is what the package contained?
Yes.
Yeah, you were that. Yes, you were there for that.
I didn't know how much there was, but I could smell it. And
right.
Since I have the ability to identify all poisons.
Right.
But that seems to be the typical way of things with Feng. But even more important, he had with him something that took the form of a woman, but was no woman at all. And this is, my friend has sent me some of her blood, which is a poison unlike anything I've ever seen before. I fear that Feng has involved himself with someone far too dangerous. She may be using him, and I think I'm actually worried he could be in some real danger. Perhaps you could go and speak with him and see if you can draw out of him more about this supposed woman he was with.
Are you using hearts and minds? I mean, that's kind of putting her into a dangerous kind of
yeah,
web of entanglements here.
I think hearts and minds to
okay. She
get her to step into
qualifies
this and admit that she knows what he's been up to. And
what do you think you will roll with?
I think water, because I'm trying to convince her that it would really be wise to look into this.
Okay.
You know, oh, I'm actually worried about your brother. An 8.
Okay.
And I will just leave it there.
We're going to leave it at an 8. So I think what will happen here is that she listens to your words and she hangs on to your words with this close intention. She's listening, she's taking what you have to say and really paying attention. She cares so deeply. And yet when you mention that you ask her, maybe you should talk to Mo Fang, maybe you can talk him out of this madness, I think that you see this expression come across her face of almost fear. Like how could you ask me to do that, is the vibe you get. And I think she just takes you by your hands. She takes both hands and wraps them over your own hands and holds them closely. And she says to you, my dear Mao Feng, he is my family, but you are my betrothed. You are my husband. My allegiance is to you. My allegiance is to us. You must not put yourself into further danger. You mustn't put us into further danger. He will make the decisions he makes. Your master will make the decisions he makes, but please do not involve yourself in these matters. They don't concern us. Think of us. And I think she hesitates here. So she won't willingly do what you ask of her, but you get +1 ongoing with her until there is a significant change in the fiction. And I will also note that she is explicitly telling you, your wife explicitly telling you, please, please, please keep your nose out of this demon poison, strange ghost woman racket thing. Like, does that cause sort of a almost like an inner conflict where you're torn in 2 directions here, or maybe it doesn't quite rise to that level? What do you think? I guess it depends on how much you take your wife's word into account.
Sure, I think inner conflict, but more because my initial reaction is, oh, what does she know? And she's trying to hide.
Uh-oh.
Because
Well,
usually
yeah.
she's so solicitous of her brother Feng, and here she's like, oh, well, he'll just do what he does.
Sure. Well, let's get an inner conflict roll. Anything but your style element is on the table. And don't forget to mark XP for just rolling.
Water, just because of the downside of it is uncertainty, isolation. Oops. Oh, 10.
Very well. You hold steady and you get that XP for free. And so what do you say? She, in so many words, tells you, I cannot do this thing that you've asked of me. I cannot go against my brother. And I ask that you stay out of it too.
I'm afraid I'm already involved. This woman, or whatever she was with him, is not something I can just ignore. I'm going to go see what I can learn about her and her poisons, but if you don't feel that you can speak to Mofang about this, then I'll accept that.
She looks at you with this forlorn worry in her eyes, and she will simply just take a hand and kind of rest it upon your cheek, gazing intently into your eyes. She says,
Oh no.
"My dear, please promise me just this. Promise me that whatever happens, you will come home alive."
I will always come back to you. That's why I go to prepare myself to deal with her, so that I can keep that promise.
And shall we close the scene out there?
The scene with Qingshui, yes.
Okay. Is there any last thing you would like to do before we cut over to Cloud Crow?
I do want to do some research to and I don't know if we need to if we do that now or later. I'm looking to see if I can find more information about whatever she might be, and develop an antidote to her poison.
Yeah. So I think what you might be discussing here is the Uncover Bane move. I mean, I think that you're going to be kind of getting at the same ideas just by a different sort of route, I think. Rather than consulting, you are going to be doing some study and probably a little bit of alchemy, perhaps, in order to assess kind of the nature of this thing that you're up against. Does that sound reasonable to you?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's Bane or get a new technique.
Oh, okay. Oh,
There's also an alternate thing besides that. There's oh no, that's seek expert. Never mind. It's specifically seeking an expert. Never mind.
Yeah, because specifically, I'm not so much looking for a way to, I mean, finding out more about her, maybe, but specifically looking to develop an antidote, which, since that's her fighting style,
that's
that would
sensible.
counter it.
If you would like to try it as a new technique way that you can kind of gain scale against her without necessarily finding out how to dispatch her permanently, we can treat it as that.
Sure.
Okay. So you will roll at a +1, I think, because you have viewed her one time. Very well.
Ooh. 5.
A5. And so can you start by just describing how you're doing this and where you're doing this? I have kind of some ideas as to what the cost here might look like, but what does this study look like as we're seeing it in the movie?
I think going to the library at Blackwood Palace and seeing if I can dig up any information on supernatural creatures with poisoned blood, and also just sort of testing the poison and the antidote, which may involve actually exposing myself to the poison.
I have an idea here. I think what will happen is, well, I mean, the cost, first of all, is going to be that you don't really find exactly what you're looking for. I mean, you're not going to be able to develop an antidote. It takes time. It's frustrating. So, I mean, I'm thinking about what we can do here. Let's have you mark metal.
Okay.
Because that will have you, there's that unsatisfied quality to it, and also blocks calculation, which I feel like is sort of what you're doing here. But I think
Yep.
the additional move that plays out here is we're going to cut away to just a scene between NPCs here. We see Mo Feng in this great hall that he has built for himself, surrounded by bodyguards. He sits atop a makeshift throne, and a small boy rushes towards him. He says, "Ah, my favorite courier. You delivered the parcel, I presume." "I did, master." He tosses the boy some small pittance of coins, but to him it's a fortune. "And I take it you inspected the contents as I asked." "I did." "And?" He hands Mo Feng a report. He reads it. "Ah. So that is his intention," he says, pocketing the report. And I think the move here is that Mo Feng knows that you're looking up ways to screw around with Violet Widow, and by extension him. So he knows that you're making moves that are directly in opposition to him, above and beyond what you've done already. This is almost a direct attack in a way that you have not done before. And there will probably be some blowback for it.
Good.
Cloud Crow. Is there a scene with an NPC you would like to call?
Yes, I would like to call a scene with Dongtian. And I am imagining that Cloud Crow is at the temple for some days, sending crows to spy on Songtian, to find Songtian, to spy on him and bring me back information about where his whereabouts and what he's doing. And after some days of this, I feel certain that Songtian is findable in the place that he has been staying, which is actually a cave in the forest. And Songtian has been incarnate as a fox in the forest. And the crows have been reporting back to me. And I am planning to have an encounter with Songtian.
At the cave?
Yes.
All right. He's not going to be expecting you. So how would you like to make yourself known?
I would imagine that I fly into the forest where Songtian is, and I land in a tree. And I pull out my flute and I start playing a song just for Songtian, willing him to emerge from the cave and come to face me. And I think that I might need to, do I need to do a move to understand what his skill level is?
You would need to do the study move in order to learn his scale, yes.
So I think that I should do that. So I know that if I can duel him or not.
You can always duel him, irrespective of what your scale is. You might just not be able to win.
Right.
That is another way to learn his move, is just by fighting him.
Right.
Or a way to learn his scale. I forget if I
Okay,
said
well,
that
maybe
word.
I won't actually study. I have the idea that I can beat him already, and I'm naive, so why not just go for it?
Well, you play your melody, It whispers across the wind. I think that it stirs the maple leaves on the ground and they swirl a bit about you, and almost in kind of a cyclonic sort of pattern as you play from your tree branch, and almost blending into the hues of orange and red, this gorgeous, sleek orange fox emerges, sniffing from the cave until it points its snout in your direction. What do you do?
I continue playing just a few more moments. I see Songchan wrapped by the sound, perhaps the aroma of the melody. And I'm struck by how beautiful Songchan is for just a moment. And then I stop playing my flute. And I call out, Songchan, and I jump down from the tree, my wings gliding me down gently. I'm here to kill you. Let us fight.
He shifts into human form. He wears a threadbare robe, nothing lavish or extravagant, the robes of a peasant commoner. And he carries with him on one side an old sword, but a demon sword nonetheless, one that cuts like hellfire. Its wounds rumored to inflict permanent harm. We do not need to have a conflict here. You know I do not trust the Heaven and Earth Temple, but you and I, we have no ill will between us, he says, almost pleading for some amount of peace between the two of you. Think, your friend, Jiang. What would he do if he knew that you were here? And is there inner conflict?
Not yet. It is true, you and I have no quarrel. However, I represent my temple. I do not act of my own. I act with the power and the will of my temple.
I will just say out of character here, this is a reminder that at any point in this scene, Crow and or Blade may spend a bond for Blade to show up at a dramatically opportune time. So I'll just put that out there just as a reminder. We do have that move available, and this is a dramatic scene. So
Yes, I would love Blade to show up right now, even though I am trying to not think about Blade. But I know that Blade and I are karmically bound, and yes, I would love her to show up. So let's see.
you would need to spend your bond with Blade to do that. And Blade, are you okay with being kind of summoned into the scene here? Sure.
Okay, I am spending my bond with Blade. Songchan, prepare to die.
And Blade, where do you enter here?
Oh, like what is Blade's interest here? So let me just remind myself, does it say anything in particular about, like, I just enter and like I just show up, right?
Yeah, in whatever fashion I think is most dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I enter and I think as you're going to strike this fox demon, like your blade meets mine. And I say, like, I apologize, Cloud Crow. I cannot allow you to hurt this one. He is connected to one that my order has done great wrong against.
What?
I mean, that's what I just found out, that we've just been fucking with Zhou Jiang for a while.
Oh, is Nameless Blade morally opposed to fucking around with?
That's why I had the whole emotional conflict there.
Ah, yes.
Young is a friend and ally, and apparently we're just like laying curses upon him and his family. Could I roll Legend of the Mountain here? When I defend someone or something, roll.
You sure can. That sounds like what you're doing.
Let's see. Earth is marked. Oh, no, that's no, I think no, sorry. I was looking at, sorry, I should close this. I have the one I GM for also marked, also open. I think I am going to roll with I think this is fire. I think I'm acting with speed and like I am conflicted. I am reckless here. This is a lot for me to deal with right here. So let's see how this goes. Getting involved in stuff that's not my business. Oh man, this is the thing I actually roll well on is a 9. So let's see, for Legend of the Mountain, on a 7 to 9, I must also mark an element. I think I will mark fire here. I think that's definitely the kind of prevailing emotion for me. And so I keep them safe and choose one from the list below is just on any hit. Let's see, what do I want to do? So where is this fight taking place?
In the woods.
Yep.
Outside the den of the fox.
Forest of Chinese maples outside the cave where the fox, has it. Yeah, like you said.
I will take. I will mark. Bond on Song Tian. I think that makes the most sense here. Actually, I think I'm going to take control of Cloud Crow's attention for the moment, if that's okay. Does that work for you, Cloud Crow?
I don't know. What
like I guess no? Like
no, you gotta have my attention.
What was that? No, I know. I'm wondering if that's an okay thing for me to ask of you, like that I take control of your attention and Song Tian will either like escape or I have like a moment to engage you before we start fighting again.
Okay. Yes.
I look at you, Cloud Crow, and I say, I know that, oh, and I know exactly how to make this even worse. I know that you know the love between you and from the love that you have between you and Sister Serpent, that you know what it would be like to lose one you love. Would you do this now to Zhou Jiang for and this one for nothing other than what he is? And I'm trying to hearts and minds you if that's okay. I'm sorry if that's okay, if you're making fine with me making this other move here.
Yes, you can try hearts and minds.
Is that okay, David?
By all means, yes.
Cool. Oh, and I just marked passion. I think I am. Let's see. I think I am probably water here. I think that there's a certain degree that like I'm making this all about the love between you and Sister Sister Serpent rather than between you and me.
Vile.
Oh, and that is a 7. So on a 7, when it's a PC, you have 2 options here. You can either go along with it and mark XP, or you can refuse me and either spend a bond or mark an element. Or no, either spend a bond or mark an element if you refuse me.
I'm not sure how this works mechanically speaking, but I am feeling an immense amount of inner conflict now. And so I'm wondering if my response can actually be an inner conflict roll.
Yeah, you can inform that. I think that mechanically we'll just need to decide once that inner conflict roll happens, which you're going with here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sorry, this is actually David's job to adjudicate.
No. This is great. It's always nice when I can just sit back and let people play and I don't have to do any work. It's nice. So,
but that does sound like a good way to resolve it. Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So by all means, let's have an inner conflict roll from Cloud Crow. Remember to mark XP before you roll. And then any element that is not your style element is on the table.
Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to roll with water because, well, no. I think I'm actually going to roll with metal. I'm just seeing the feeling of unsatisfied, inflexible, but also just kind of freaking out, scared. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to roll with metal. Okay, so I add 1. And my roll is 7.
Oh, and that is true. I see in the chat, Jiang did invoke a move last time that will give Cloud Crow a -1 to this roll. So that will be spent here.
Oh, okay.
You have 2 bonds though, so you could spend 1 to bump yourself back up to 7.
Well, let's see. Is it worth it?
So either the situation becomes worse in some way, or you are given the option to like flee or mark an element to stand firm.
Okay, I would like to stand firm, so I guess I will spend a bond, and it looks like I have a bond with Dongshan and a bond with Elder Woodheart.
I mean, you're acting on Elder Woodheart's like
Yeah.
orders, right?
Yeah, okay, I'll spend my bond with Elder Woodheart to keep my 7.
So
And
you must either flee the scene or mark an element.
Okay, let me mark an element. And how do I decide which element to mark? Is it based on anything?
I would say that it is your choice. The general guiding principle is when in doubt, mark the element that you rolled with, unless you think there is a reason to mark a different one. Like, for example, if you have an emotion that fits one of those negative categories in red text off on the right side of each element, you can mark the corresponding element to activate that emotion. But otherwise, I would just say mark with, you use the element that you rolled with is
Okay.
a decent way to
I'm
go about it.
marking metal. I'm marking
Okay.
metal. And so then the question now is, am I going to honor Nameless Blade's request?
Yeah, and I should
Or
also
am
actually
I-
let you know if you are like angry at Nameless Blade about this, because I got a partial. If you say no, I will also have to mark an element.
Yeah, I want to roll inner conflict again. I'm not out of my conflict.
Well, you just spent that bond on your master. Does that mean that like you are like being driven by that right now?
I mean, I think the conflict is essentially my master has asked me to do all these things, kill Songtian, who is beloved by my friend Zhou Jiang. And now I'm sure my master would want me to kill you, Nameless Blade, who I
Yeah.
love, who and so spending the bond with my master, I think maybe means I'm pulling away from him
Okay.
in the conflict. Right. So I think that I am pulling away from Elder Woodheart and just like, my own heart is perhaps stronger than my allegiance to my temple, which feels partly sad, but also I'm young. And so I'm going to do as you ask, Nameless Blade. And I'm
Cool.
going to
So
leave Songtian alone.
yeah, you get to take your mark another XP.
Great.
And that actually takes you up to 8. So you'll be able to, when you feel like it, either add +1 to a stat or get a new move for your character.
Okay.
But yeah, what does it look like as you decide to like spare this fox demon?
Well, you're right, Nameless Blade, as you so often are. Songtian, let's leave this for another time. Why don't we all go together to the tavern and see if we can meet Zhou Jiang for a nice beverage?
Nameless Blade, how do you respond?
I mean, first off, how does our fox demon respond to the like, oh yeah, I was gonna kill you, but now let's just grab a beer together? Because I feel like that's gonna inform Nameless Blade's response here.
Song Tian is a demon. They're rather proud creatures, I think, and so I don't think that forgiveness will come quite that easily. I think that Song Tian looks at you, Cloud Crow, with an expression of almost feral anger. I mean, it's almost uncontrolled. It's this kind of like primal sort of force that is boiling up within this fox demon's eyes. And he stares at you and just barely keeping his composure says, I'll do fine without. You had best go.
Mm-hmm. And I think like as like we're going away, I think I grab your hand and like grab one of your hand in my good hand and say, thank you, Cloud Crow, for that. There is so much goodness in you that I can see why Sister Serpent loves you so.
Oh my God, you are so evil.
And I think I'm actually doing this as a comfort and support, if that's okay.
Is that comforting?
I'm trying to actually, like, I am trying at least to say, like, you are like I think I will say like something like I am just a blade whose only purpose is to strike down those who do wrong, but you are someone who can actually help these spirits of the world find their way.
Cloud Crow, would you accept that?
I would accept that, but if it were within my power to influence the role of the comfort and support, you would get at least one number off for the comment about Sister Serpent. Which I don't know if you rescinded that comment. But
no, that's totally still a part of it. Because we have to talk about our emotions like indirectly is one of the encouraged things. And I can tell you what a great person you are, but like not because I love you so much, because Sister Serpent loves you so much.
Right. Okay, yes, I accept your comfort and support.
Oh, oops, I think I accidentally. Yeah. Let me see here. Basic moves. Cool. I think that I am rolling with, let me see my stats here. I think I'm rolling with water. I think this is wisdom is what I'm doing here. That's a 12. So you get the option here, Cloud Crow, of either clearing an element or giving me a bond on you.
I'll give you a bond on me.
Cool, okay. And I'll pump that up. I now have 2 bonds on Cloud Crow. And I'm going to I'm pretty good on those. I'm gonna let's see, what was my options? You know what I'm gonna do here? I think that I'm going to ask, and I think this is again something that I'm not asking out loud, but what are your feelings about Sister Serpent? Is something that that Nameless Blade is is like picking up as she drops Sister Serpent's name.
But you're not doing it out loud.
No. But this is something I'm like picking up, so you can answer. So you still answer. It's just like not actually said out loud between the characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling it when I'm with her. I'm thinking of Nameless Blade.
Oh man, I think I see you glance like at me awkwardly, like out of the corner of your eye whenever I mention Sister Serpent's name. And I think maybe am I picking up on that? And I feel like I definitely have to roll just to close out this scene, my own inner conflict, if people are okay with that.
I think discovering Cloud Crow's true feelings can call for inner conflict. I think
Yeah.
that's sufficient.
Cool. I'll roll here with I can't roll fire, so I'm gonna roll with earth here because no, not earth. Sorry, that's I'll roll with water here again. Uncertain. This is all very confusing. All very. That's a 10. And out of 10, I
think you just hold steady.
Yeah, I hold steady, and I think like there's definitely like a moment, and I think this is like too early in the series for a full kiss, but I think there's a moment where like my hand brushes yours and like I leave it brushing your fingertips with my own for too long before I pull it away. And I think that's, oh, go ahead.
The crows notice what's happening. And one comes over and sits on my shoulder. There.
Can I insert something as we close the scene
Sure.
out? Well, I think now might be a fine time to make things much worse for Nameless Blade.
Cool.
After the miss on the first inner conflict roll. I think that as you have that moment of fleeting, oh, we're almost holding hands kind of contact between the two of you, I think that your eyes briefly meet Song Tian's, and you see this look of longing directed toward you that is suddenly transformed into a look of almost jealousy, but then it is covered, and Song Tian simply says, "Thank you, Nameless Blade," and seems ashamed of himself.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly the moment where I like pull my hand away because I forgot that Song Tian was there. And yeah, and that's where we fade to black. And
let's take 5, and when we come back, Zhou Jiang, you're overdue for a scene here, so we'll go to you. Okay, so let's jump over to Jiang, because it's been a little while, I think. Is there a scene that you would like to call at this time? Last we saw of you, I believe you had developed the silver tether.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to check in with Greg because he had a question for the group. Do you want to do that now, or
right.
do you want to?
Sure. It's a quick question.
Yeah.
My question is, are you guys, or are you folks okay with Dongshan having seen that whole scene with Cloud Crow, Nameless Blade, and Song Tian?
sure, I am.
How'd you do that?
I was thinking that it's been a while since I've had my attention on Cloud Crow, so my master has sent me over to visit the Heaven and Earth Palace with the intention of looking in on them.
Yeah, do we maybe want to make a study roll or something here to kind of abstract out how successful you were in like drawing upon like our secrets?
I think the only important bit to me is that I saw Nameless Blade stop Cloud Crow from killing Sung Tian.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
And maybe I didn't, the rest of it, I probably don't know anything about what you were talking about or anything, but
All right.
you certainly seemed awfully chummy.
And I, of course, I keep saying to people, would you like to call a scene with an NPC? But by all means, you can also include another PC in the scene. So if Jiang, you would like to include Dongshan or anyone else, you can do that as well. So anything you want to do at this point?
Oof. Okay. So I don't know where I'm at right now. That was a lot to take in. I think I'm having some bleed on the character. Something about Jiang being on the sidelines while everyone else has drama that is intimately connected with his most intimate interests is I feel angry about it. And so I'm imagining a scene where Jiang explodes when he finds out about this. I don't know if it's a scene with Dongshan or a scene with Sung Tian. I could go either way.
Cloud Crow did suggest, how about we meet up with Zhang and like just have some drinks with him?
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm just going to go with my first impulse, which is to open on a scene in that same tavern that I met Sung Tian last time at the beginning of the whole series. I think, it was the very beginning. And we're just looking in through the window, and we can see Song Tian speaking to Jiang. We can't hear what he's saying. And then as we enter the room, the camera enters the room, I'm seeing Jiang starts throwing things. Normally very contained and very soft and very soft-spoken. He is, and also his fire is marked, so he's, I think, a little unbalanced on that element. What is he saying? Is he saying anything intelligible? Is my question. I don't know that he's saying anything intelligible. I don't know how to cuss in this genre. I never hear them cuss, but that's what I imagine him doing. Oh, and I imagine. I just got the image. The window is open because it's a warm night. And as Jiang is throwing things and yelling incoherently, I think he sees a crow in the tree outside. And I imagined him immediately using the silver tether on that crow, and and pulling it into the bedroom. I know we have a line on harm to animals, so I want to be sensitive to that. But he just grabs it by the throat and says, "Tell your master I will be coming for them." And then he releases it out the window. I'm not sure if this is an inner conflict or he's just way pissed off at not just that Cloud Crow would, because there's two things Cloud Crow has done. The first put Jiang in an impossible position with his ward when he was protecting Mo Fang, and now gone after Song Tian in this way. So I don't think he's feeling conflicted as much as just way pissed off. Um, um, and I don't know if there's more to happen in this scene other than that. Someone, I mean, David, you could play Song Tian if you wanted. Uh, if you want to do anything, but I'm just seeing Song Tian just watch the blow up. I'm not sure what he is doing or thinking.
He has never seen you in this way before. I think he is going to make these probably very just kind of helpless gestures to try to calm you down, to talk to you, to it, you know, like it's okay, it's okay, that kind of thing. But I think one thing that he will tell you is, well, I'll ask you a question. Does Song Tian know that Cloud Crow has fallen into possession of the bronze vessel?
I think this is the first meeting between Song Tian and Jiang since that, and so we actually haven't had that conversation yet. Because the moment that Song Tian came in, the first thing out of his mouth was about the conflict with Cloud Crow and Nameless Blade. But he can ask if he wants.
I think he'll. I mean, kind of in a way of just like getting your mind off of things. He'll say, well, tell me about how everything else went. Did things get delivered to Mo Fang? Okay, is Mo Fang okay? How is Dongshan, for example? Like just anything to distract you from this understandably infuriating betrayal that you have suffered by Cloud Crow, or at least it was a betrayal until they relented. Now it's something.
So Jiang kicks a chair and then says, "It all went fine. Although you sent me to deliver a dangerous item to a pompous buffoon, Song Tian, and I did so to honor our bond." I don't know why you asked that of me, but I'd ask you to be more careful of your requests of me in the future. Cloud Crow managed to disabuse or dispossess Mo Fang of the item in question. I protected him because I was under contract with him, but I was not pleased with the situation I was placed in. But now I see that Cloud Crow has other designs. Everyone's meddling in my life. What is this? Throws in something else.
I think all the patrons have like evacuated
And I also think, you tell me, David, if this is something, I think this kind of emotional eruption on Jiang's part will rift the veil somewhat, and bring forward some of his curse, possibly, if it seems right to you, that some angry ghosts begin to gather around the tavern.
I quite like that, sure.
So I imagine, yeah, there's almost this mist becoming kind of sneaking in through I see the walls of the tavern made of stone, and mortar, and it's almost like it's creeping in these misty shapes through the mortar of the stone, and gathering in a cloud around Jiang. And I'm not sure and
Right.
that's
I like that idea though, that intense emotions on the part of Jiang are a beacon. They're a steeple for bad stuff
that shit.
show
Yeah.
up. Right. The more emotionally discontrolled you get, the more bad stuff gets attracted to you. And so
Yeah.
I think that we as an audience begin to see this, but Song Tian doesn't pay any attention to it. He's focused on you. And I think that as you're just like ranting and that whole thing, I think Song Tian is going to say, Jiang, and he will actually take your face in both of his hands, such that you're kind of forced to make eye contact with him. And he says, look at me, Jiang. Mo Feng, the hell with Mo Feng, the hell with Cloud Crow, with everyone, and you and me. We have to stick together in this. Our bond, we cannot allow them to sever it. Let me make a proposition to you. Let's undo all of this. The bronze vessel that was given to Mo Feng and delivered into the hands of the Heaven and Earth Temple, who wants to kill me, who wants to tear us apart. Let's take all of it back from them. You and me, Jiang, acting as one, let us go to the Heaven and Earth Temple and take back the bronze vessel straight from them.
That would serve them right. Those uppity priests of the Heaven and Earth Temple, so self-righteous. I don't trust that vessel in their hands anyways. And so I can see Jiang really taking the bait and focusing in on Sun Tiang. And there's kind of a steeliness now to him. I'm not sure how the spirits are going to respond to this, but it's not quite as, fiery, and it's colder. Now it gets cold. Now it gets very cold. And I imagine this scene actually playing out in a room in the inn, but the spirits are entering like the main common rooms of the inn, as well as the private room. And I imagine everyone can start seeing their breath. The residents, the people who are in the tavern, are seeing their breath as things get colder. And yeah, I'm not sure if the scene ends there or not. But Jiang is taking the bait, and also, so he's really unbalanced right now. But is there any way? I don't know if this is a move or what. I've barely done any moves today, but something about understanding Song Tian's motives in this. Does he believe that Song Tian is acting in his best interests? Or maybe he's just too untethered at the moment, so to speak, to even have that peace of mind to measure that.
In the absence of more information, that is really for you to decide. If you wanted a more concrete answer, you could always try for a study. Of course, if you rolled a miss on that, it would only complicate things even more.
Even more, yeah. Sure, let's do a study. What the hell? I'm studying a person, right? So the focus here on Song Tian.
Okay.
All right.
What element would you like to roll with?
Oh, let me look at that. That's a good question. I'm looking at the red ones. Angry, licentious, isolated, depressed, scared, unsatisfied, inflexible. No, but this is, he's trying to understand his lover's intent. I'm just going to go with water, with awareness, and see what happens. Oh, well, it's a 12.
All right. So the basic information is you perceive that Song Tian genuinely cares about you and is not pulling wool over your eyes or trying to harm you. Does that mean they're making a wise decision? No. They do seem to care, though.
Mhm.
Now, you also get to hold, and you can also reveal details as well. And you do not need to spend those hold now. You can keep them
Okay.
for later if you so choose.
Yeah, let me think on it and keep it for later. Even if it rolls into next session, I would have the holds, or are they only for this session?
You can keep them into the next session too. You just want to make sure that you mark that they are about Song Tian.
About Song Tian.
So you don't accidentally spend them on other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But I think the basic information you gave me is enough, Cat Demon, to close the scene. I don't know if the ghosts do any mischief downstairs in the tavern.
I think we might close the scene here, but there's a good chance that they will be following you.
Okay.
Depending, that's a good question. Cloud Crow asks in the chat, do you end up letting that crow go? Because you've still got it tethered.
Yes, I did. I said, tell your master I'll be coming for
yes.
them. And then I tossed them out the window and released the tether. Yeah.
Fabulous. So we've just got a little bit of time left here. Dongshan, is there a scene that you would like to throw in here? If not, that is perfectly fine.
Not
We
a short
can wrap
scene,
up here.
no.
Nothing short. Well, what we can do then is we will make sure to open with you next time, if that sounds reasonable. I think that being said, we might go ahead and wrap up here, just because we've got just about 20 minutes, and I have a way of making Stars and Wishes take too long. So we'll wrap up here. Yeah, that's all we got. So I will go ahead and end the recording, guys. Thank you.